Alex Becker. Currently one of the most successful online personality that also has a YouTube channel. He achieved 170 million at the age of, I believe, 35. I actually don't know. But basically the point is that he achieved insane amount of success, and I wanted to study him and understand how he does it. And what intrigued me the most is his personality type. He's an INTP, which basically is one of the best and worst personality type at the same time. So basically the INTP is the problem solver personality type, who is also super creative, which causes him to be one of the smartest personality type. But on the other side is one of the most undisciplined type. So it's a curse and also a blessing at the same time. And because I have the same personality type, I wanted to study how Alex Becker achieved all this stuff. So yeah, basically I broke down Alex Becker's nightmare peak performance mode here, and we are going to discover and go through it today. So by the way, if you don't know who I am, my name is Ben, and I'm the co-founder of growthpartners.com, and we work with people like Andrew Kirby, Sam Owens, currently Chase Chappell, and we help them build a successful YouTube channel. Today we are going to explore this interesting topic of the nightmare peak performance. And yeah, this will be a longer video, and I won't be your usual YouTuber who will say to you like, oh, if you can't watch this video till the end, this is the exact video for you. I think it's too cliche, but let's be real, it's kinda true. And if you haven't found any good videos on the topic of dopamine detox, or if you ever wanted to dive deeper into the topic of dopamine detox and how to achieve more, how to be more successful, then this will be basically a masterclass for you. So I believe we shouldn't even spend more time. I made some yerba mate for myself because I believe this will be a longer video. So yeah, so let's get straight into it. We will go through the rules later, but basically the nightmare peak performance mode is something Alex Becker came up with, and I found it super interesting. It basically is a version of monk mode. He also added no FAP at the start, but he said he only added that there because like it was famous at the time and it got used. So yeah, basically the structure of my summaries are: this is the video, this is the overview of it, these are the points with red, these are the black is mostly categories, this is usually my conclusion, and if you see any orange stuff, that's basically the 80-20 of it. That's like something super variable. So let's start here. This isn't fun, but it made me 2K an hour. People are not successful because they don't have these three things laid down. It has nothing to do with not wanting it enough. So basically Alex Becker started the series with this video, and I found the idea super interesting. He basically was talking about this thing that like some people in the whole business space, the hustle culture space, talk about the fact that you just don't want it enough, and that's why you don't get it. And he said that, okay, it's kind of lie. Like, I like to say it this way, but if you are like watching this video, or if you plan to finish this video, or if you are usually watching videos like this, or if you have a business, you probably want it enough. There is just other factors playing a role here. It's like saying that, but if you use illegal substances, then basically you will get addicted to them, and like then you will have pretty serious withdrawal syndromes from those hard illegal substances. And basically it's not you not wanting working enough, it's just you are addicted to do stuff. So basically he laid down 3 things. Let's start with poor time management. Time management is about removing all the stupid things that distract you. Basically this idea is kind of an essentialism, I believe, and he broke down these two points. Move out to a place where no one can distract you. So basically outside distraction. By the way, for fun fact, when I came home here, and know what I'm noticing is that basically everyone wants my time. Go to this event, meet with this friend, this family member has a birthday, help this person, and everyone just tries to get your time. And Yes, and in Alex Becker's situation, when you have a big house you need to take care of. So what he did is he moved to the empty house. So basically move to a place where no one can distract you and you can only focus on work. There are no people there are nothing can distract you. So yeah, I pretty like this idea and soon be implementing it, but more on that in the future. Get rid of social media, TV, hobbies. That's a big thing. That's one of the biggest thing. Is yeah, I'm pretty sure that if you are here, one of your biggest problem you have currently is social media. Maybe your poison is IG, maybe your problem is Twitter, or just watching YouTube videos like this. I don't know, but probably have a problem with this. So get rid of them. Hobbies, TV, probably under TV he means movies and series, and social media. You should just focus on one thing. And if you spend all your time on, let's say, on social media, then on YouTube, then watching films, then helping the people around you, then you will have no time for business. So yeah, consistency of focused work. Basically, having a time in your day where you have deep work sessions. By the way, these are simple ideas, but the simple is what gets results. If you always get distracted during work, you won't get into the flow state. So basically, we need to time. The start of the flow state is basically the struggle state, and the struggle state is painful. So you will be in front of you will be, let's say, on some messaging app, you want to send some outreaches, but you're like, let me check my emails. Or you like writing a script for a YouTube video and you're like, let me watch a video about how to write scripts. And you will get distracted because you will feel that pain, and that pain will distract you. Will not distract you, but will make you want to get distracted. So basically the main idea behind this is just make sure to not be on social media, block social media, get rid of it, as you see here. And in that case, you can't go anywhere, just sit in a pain and you will soon get into the flow state, into deep work. So yeah, have everyday scheduled, consistent deep work. Focus on one thing. We are coming back to the first point, full circle. Doing this long enough will create a flywheel effect / compound effect for success. If you're jumping from thing, you won't achieve anything. So basically the three ideas behind here is focus on consistency, do deep work without distraction, and focus on one thing. Cool. So by the way, what I forgot to tell you guys is that there is one conclusion after all these points, and it's this point. But probably when I will read all of it, you will already come to this conclusion by yourself. So basically I will be revealing this conclusion of all the nightmare peak performance mode at the end of the video, so it will make sense of what is the conclusion. And yeah, let's get to the second thing. As you see, it's like not complex stuff that gives results, it's the simple stuff. But there is probably something simple bad thing that you are doing that causing you to basically have the handbrakes on and is like sabotaging your life. So yeah, next thing, by the way, there is a lot of similarities between videos, so there will be repetition. I just want to say, next thing, want to be rich, give up these 4 things. Just avoid doing silly stuff that prevents you from moving forward in life. This is one of my favorite episodes. Move out to a place where no one can distract you. We already talked about this. Give up materialism. Live in a super minimalistic lifestyle. And he basically talked about this, that yeah, you should move out, live in a super minimalistic space where your whole lifestyle is just minimalistic, so you don't achieve lifestyle inflation. And the problem is lifestyle inflation is mostly that like you buy something new and know that you want to use that new thing. Let's say you buy a car, but now you want to drive the car. Let's say you buy a new TV, but now you want to use the TV. Or let's say buy a villa, but need to take care of the place, so you need to hire people who take care of it and all those stuff. So yeah, complaining has no point about politics, weather, etc. Just make money and move somewhere else. So stop complaining about shit. Just make money and move stuff. This is self-explanatory, but I like this. Check out from the word for some time. You don't need to know what is Logan Paul. I have to love this. Like, when I went off social media, what I found super interesting is like all these people talking about, there was this earthquake, there something happened with the submarine. Like, I'm like, and? Like, does it really benefits, like in what sense does it benefits my life? Then at the other side of the world there was an earthquake. In what sense does my life change? If it ever, like, it's just bullshit. So yeah, like, we have this FOMO that, like, we will miss something important. But what I noticed mostly with news is, like, trust me, if it's that important, you will meet with someone in your life who will just tell you. Even worst case, just the cashier in a store. But if it will be so important, you will hear it no matter what. So yeah, you don't need to know about the news and any of this bullshit. Make it hard to get bad stuff, basic stuff for just this whole idea around habits. But yeah, and if you are bored, you will get to action. Very interesting stuff. But yeah, it works. Most of you don't do the work because you are not getting bored. Find out what's the main thing that slows you down and either move somewhere or make it impossible to access it. So basically that was the 80-20 of this video. And I'm actually not sure if it was this video, but I want to dive into this point a little bit more. I believe it was this video. But basically the main point of this video was the fact that, like, everyone has this one poison. Could be social media, could be YouTube, could be video games, could be movies, could be spending too much time with friends, could be that I don't know, there is something that is your biggest poison. And you don't need to get rid of everything at the start. You just have to figure out what's this poison that causing you so much pain. For me, it's YouTube, by the way. Just to, like, for me it was YouTube, and in the past it was Twitter. So just for context, to put it in perspective, if I would get rid of YouTube, then most of my problems around productivity would fix. Okay, so basically find out what that poison is and try to get rid of it. My best guess and your best thing that you could do is just get rid of it for a month or for a week at least, and then you can reintroduce it into your lifestyle, but with some system that basically prevents you to spend on it unnecessary time. So yeah, or maybe you even realize you don't even need it in your life. So yeah, basically I believe that was this video's main point, is that you should get rid of stuff. You should get rid of the main stuff that's stopping you, and basically it's causing you to have the handbrakes on. And if you just get rid of this one main bad thing, most of your problems will solve. So yeah, let's go to the third video, which is how dopamine detox saved my life. Dopamine detox helped me more than anything else. Alex Becker says it, and yes, in this video we dive a little bit more into dopamine detox. Dopamine has no context, it's just a 1 and a 0. The things that are beneficial for you won't give you the dopamine that other stuff gives, such as drugs, video games. So here comes the thing. I completely agree with Alex here. You have to realize that there is generally, like, no context for it. If eating donuts will make you happy, you will just continue eating donuts, because it will give your brain is just, you eat it, it says, oh, it gives me a lot of dopamine, so let's eat more donuts. So if you just continue eating donuts, and you will become fat, and you couldn't concentrate on building a business. Yeah. And Becker told an interesting story, and, like, I just want to get into the main conclusion behind it, and my realization behind it is that, he told the story of the rat and the button, which I don't really go into it, but basically the main point of the story was that if you put an electrodes into the brain of a rat, it will just, and that activates his dopamine receptors. He will do everything just to press that button, and over time he will be super unmotivated and won't do anything. He won't do anything that gives him effort. So basically, when Becker moved from being in his big villa with his supercars and stuff to basically a minimalistic house, when he only has his bed and his computer to work on, what he did is he started to find himself being on Facebook, starting to play video games, starting to introduce these bad habits into his life, and he couldn't really understand why he was doing this. And basically what he came as a conclusion to is that he was literally the rat with only a button in the minimalistic house, because your computer is like a dopamine machine. Even if you use it the right way, it's like a dopamine machine. And like it will just give you like constant dopamine, 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 dopamine. And because you don't have anything else to do, you will super easily find yourself getting distracted and doing wrong things. So yeah, when Becker moved to a minimalistic place where he only was in front of his computer all day, it was easy for him to fall into dopamine addiction. Becker became uninterested in working on his business, it no longer gave him pleasure, and his downtime went checking Facebook, Instagram, and after it his brain started to focus on the dopamine triggers. So yeah, super interesting I believe, and super true also. So pay attention. Is the recording still going? Awesome. So yeah, pay attention to this, because yeah, when you are in monk mode and when you are working, you have to genuinely pay attention to the fact that you are with a rat with only the dopamine button, and you will want to press it all day, but you have to say no, or try to really minimize the effect of that button, because just working is also gives you like fuck. What I'm saying is basically like just being in front of your computer will also give you a fuck ton of dopamine. So yeah, Becker spent his downtime indulging in dopamine, and later he had no motivation to work on his business. Everything is a system and one thing affects the other. Oh, okay, actually there was another point in this video that I also experienced myself, and I have a story with it. So a lot of days I had like super productive days the whole day, but in the evening I just spent being on YouTube and Twitter. And because my downtime was like a pretty huge chunk of time from 4 p.m. till 9 to 10 p.m. Yes, so it basically was 5 to 6 hours. I basically had 5 to 6 hours to just be on YouTube and on Twitter, and I was just constantly refreshing Twitter, being on YouTube, being here, being there. And what I found is like next day my dopamine was fucked. Even that like my dopamine, even that my workday was productive, at the end of my downtime, I managed to fuck up my dopamine. So you really have to pay attention to also not just if you enable any dopamine into your life during your work, because this is how most people think, but also if you enable any excess dopamine after your work, because then it will reflect to the next day and you will reap the rewards of that the next day. So when you are living super minimalistically and you spend all your time in front of the computer, you are basically that rat with only the dopamine button. So basically, yeah, that was the point I was trying to say. Hard dopamine detox for 5 days. This is the only solution for this if you feel like this. Yes, just a 1-day reset is not enough. You should do at least 5 days. Later I will tell you about some tactics on how to do this. Delete all social media apps from phone. Stop using all social media. No video games. Avoid mindlessly browsing the internet. By the way, just like a side note from me here, I found that like basically mindlessly browsing the internet is a symptom of just like dopamine addiction. Have a simple diet. Yeah, also have a diet that doesn't give you a lot of dopamine. Charlie Morgan talks about this idea of dopamine layering, and basically it means that you put a lot of sauces on all the food, and just for the fact to make it give you more dopamine, and you unconsciously do this. And yeah, and also no fap. About day 3 to 4 you will start enjoying life again, later on this also. And yeah, I found this point also interesting, that like, you know, you can decide to like have fun in the short term and betting in the long term, or you could have betting in the short term, which is 5 days of hard dopamine detox, and then enjoyment in the long term. So yeah, next point we are going here. I want to say this is my favorite, but I'm realizing I have multiple favorite ones. This is also one of my favorite ones. And yeah, we will dive into a super interesting point that will be one of the main point of this video, which is this video is about no-fap nightmare mode results aging backwards. Alexi, this title is like damn. It's really good. It's funny titles. This is Alex Becker's productivity protocol. He basically breaks it down. Fapping is about letting go of your discipline. Nightmare mode is about doing outside. Fuck, I mistyped something. I don't know what I wanted to say. Fuck, I don't know what I wanted to write down, like I mistyped something here. When one pillar of your discipline collapses, all other falls apart. Yes, so basically that should also be orange, because I believe that was one of the main point of the video, and it's like a super big point. And let me read it again. When one pillar of your discipline collapses, all other falls apart. And I want to break it down sooner here, but basically, like, we kind of go between two stages. We have these wave-like patterns. This is your base, and this is your floor, and this is your top ceiling. And basically we experience this wave-like pattern because we have our current self and we want to get to our desired self. And basically these two selves are fighting with each other, and your desired self or your new self builds up and then you like start to become too comfortable, and your old self basically breaks it down, and the process repeats till infinity. There is a lot of ideas how to break away from it. I will tell later what Alex does, but basically what you have to realize is, at this point here, you have to realize that the fall is happening and that one pillar starts to fall, because like here one of your thing falls, then the other thing falls, then the other thing falls, and you find yourself being down here, and that's not really good. So you have to pay attention to this. So when one pillar falls, all the others also collapses and falls apart. If one thing breaks, seven other things. When one thing breaks, seven other things broke for Alex. When you crack a little, you crack a lot. As you see, you see just a little crack here, but then it's down. I have a really good explanation for this, which I will tell you right now. The more unnatural amount of dopamine you allow into your life, the harder it becomes to resist them. If your dopamine levels are fucked, your brain will want more dopamine and you fuck up everything. So basically I came up with this. It's a super nice system to explain you why this happens, I believe. So it starts with high pleasure things depletes your dopamine. Let's say you go out drinking with friends. Because of that, your dopamine baseline drops, so you will later experience a lack of happiness. Because of the lack of happiness, now you start to seek more dopamine, because you will be in pain and you want to be happy. And in order to seek dopamine, you will break your systems. When I talk about systems, I mean like you will go sleep later so you can be on social media, you re-download social media, and you do all these stuffs that you wanted to stay away in the past from. So basically you start doing all these bad habits that you don't really want to do, but you now do it because you seek dopamine, because you are in pain. So because you do this stuff, you lose self-respect for yourself, and the cycle repeats. By you use self-respect for yourself, and also these activities depletes your dopamine, which causes lack of happiness, which makes you want to seek more dopamine, which breaks your system. Then you indulge in these activities that depletes your dopamine, and as you see, it slowly goes down to the bottom, and you really don't want to like get to here. So basically, if you could connect the dots, this and this is the same. So this system here is basically this. Just in reality, it doesn't look like this. It looks like this. You go down, and you have to pay a lot of attention to this. This is something I just came up from Alex's video. He doesn't talk about this, but basically you have to realize that, okay, if you indulge in a high pleasure thing that depletes your dopamine, and you have now lack of happiness, you shouldn't get to this level. You shouldn't get to this point. Instead, you should break the cycle and you should go on a dopamine detox. And if you just like high pleasure activity depletes your dopamine, lack of happiness, bam, you go to dopamine detox. or you do a do nothing session, which we also talk later about. So yeah, next thing, the person with dopamine levels are not fucked up. He has dopamine and doesn't have a life. For that has dopamine and doesn't have a life are a much more dangerous entrepreneur to go up against. Yeah, Becker talked about this, that if you don't have like a high dopamine lifestyle, you will be a much dangerous entrepreneur. No one's life got significantly worse because they quit Facebook, stopped smoking, drinking, and partying. Very true. Let's see how much we can suffer and gain from it. So, like, you know, this thing also works in the other side. If you don't chase pleasure, but this is basically the pleasure chasing loop. But you can also do this in the opposite side and like go up with the pain suffering loop. That will be actually pretty fun in the long term. So yeah, then he basically broke down the rules for the nightmare mode, which is no TV, no movies, no films, no YouTube, no social media, no phone, no alcohol, no fab, no video games, and what is allowed is basically just reading books, watching interviews, and staring at the wall, which doesn't sound fun at all. But if you stay away from this stuff that's up here, then this will pretty much becomes fun. Let me get this back. Okay, so if you stay away from this stuff, this pretty much becomes fun. You just have to get to that level. Okay, let's continue. He also touched on this idea of nonfab because like I was kind of skipping this idea till now about talking about nonfab because like same as Alex Becker, I find it kind of cringe to talk about it on YouTube. But basically what I was telling about it is if you want to talk about it, I also probably won't because I don't know. I'm not your nonfab YouTuber. I found it cringe. But yeah, it gives you more energy and focus, but most importantly, it prevents other areas to fall because as he said previously, if we go back now, when one pillar your discipline collapses, all other falls apart. So if this falls apart, the nonfab part falls apart, then all the other systems fall apart. So pay a lot of attention to this. One of my favorite videos. And yes, now that we got out of the way, let's dive into the science that is low motivation. Another great video, by the way. I probably say this to all of them. But basically, I just copied this. My summary is out from another place because I already had this ready. So basically he was talking about the fact that you have 4 lacks that's stopping you from being motivated, and this 4. We have 4 lacks, and yeah, let's dive into them, which is dopamine lack, time lack, purpose lack, garbage lack. By the way, one of the best videos on peak performance is probably this one. So dopamine lack, we just talked a lot about this, so probably I don't even need to get into it. But yeah, let's talk about what is the dopamine lack and how to fix it. So basically, no Twitter. Don't be on Twitter. No YouTube. Don't watch courses. You could, but maybe for the reset part, skip also this. No tablet on the toilet. Wait, I actually written down this for myself. But yeah, this is a good way. This is the way you know you have dopamine addiction if you bring your phone to the toilet. No music on walks. I'm actually realizing I've written down these notes for myself, so this is different than so basically no music on walks. Yeah, because like this comes back to the idea of dopamine layering. When you basically couldn't just enjoy a walk, you also need to add something like music, and you have to go from a consumer to a creator. By the way, these are my notes here. It's not Alex's notes, but this is what I've written down based on his videos. How can it be applied? The next thing is time lack. So basically your dopamine lack is basically if your dopamine levels are fucked up, you won't be interested in doing the stuff that will actually give you the results. So if you get rid of this, it will be pretty easy to work because you will be actually motivated to do the hard stuff. Logical. Time lack. So basically if you eat a lot of carbs, then you will be lethargic, and it's basically lowering your IQ by 20 points and by also like shooting yourself in the food. This is how I look genuinely at eating food. So you shouldn't do it. You should obviously do it, but you should intermittent fast. And my current logic is try to wake up as soon as possible, have a long deep workout, and then like push even the lunch as far as possible. I was working with an entrepreneur and we were basically fasting throughout the whole day and only eating at the end of the day. And it wasn't even funny how productive we were. So basically what I'm planning to do now is waking up an hour earlier and also eating an hour later. So I got 2 extra hours to work because my mornings are my most productive hours, so it makes sense to increase those hours. Fasting till 2 p.m. And this is a big point that he said, and I just screenshotted it. Don't eat till you done work. Because once you eat, if you intermittent fast and if that eating is afternoon, you won't be able to get anything done. The problem is that if you are like all the other people, you will experience a dip in your energy afternoon. This is because of your natural circadian rhythm. Could be the caffeine gets out of your body. If your sleep wasn't perfect, you will reap the negatives afternoon. And also you just put in 6 hours of deep work, so probably there will be a dip. And when your sleep is bad, that dip is like your productivity like goes like this, and the afternoon is like down like this. Then the night it goes up like this, and probably it's like down. So this is how I would like visualize my daily productivity. This is like productivity and this is time. So yeah. So logically we want to you eat here. So yeah, the logical way is to like wake up earlier and eat later, and then this time is bigger and then it goes down. Then you have this and this. So we just want to increase this morning work block, and then we will just be just much productive. I calculated, and if I would wake up an hour earlier and eat an hour later, I would basically have double amount of time in the morning to get stuff done. Alex Becker calls the morning hours his star time, because he's like Super Mario when he is the mushroom or gets that star. So yeah, I kind of feel the same, and like I also find it like if you're a morning type, obviously do this. If you're an evening type, do the same in the evening. But on mornings, so like I prefer to do it in the morning. Low carbs. Even another advice is just for here, the main thing you have this big dip is because you eat a lot of carbs, or because what someone says is new mindset module on YouTube is because you eat too much. So eat a light meal here that is also have low carbs. Ideally eat a light keto meal. That's what I would say. And then have a big meal here. So yeah, low inflammatory food. We was talking about this. I'm not, I don't have much understanding on this part of diet, but basically cut out sugar, cut out seed oils and stuff like, and processed food. I believe these are the most high inflammatory food. So yeah, purpose lack. Basically, he was talking about why Elon Musk or super successful people can work like all day, and his main thing was that these people have an extremely strong purpose to do it. What is something that looks like play to you but work to others? I got this from Naval. I just wanted to include it here. And yeah, you have to find your purpose that feels like effortless to do till hours, and then just do it. But one comment I want to add here is if your dopamine lock is locked, then trust me, even the thing that you find your purpose will feel painful. Because I believe that most of you and most people get stuck in this interesting loop of believing that there is this one thing that if they finally discover, there is this big thing, that big shiny object that when they find, like, it will be effortless to do and they could do it for 20 hours a day. But the truth is that probably you already find it and you already know what that thing is. The bigger problem is just the simple fact that your dopamine is fine, so you don't want to do it. But even like, don't expect that the thing that you are supposed to do of your purpose is effortless to do. There will be days when it won't be effortless to do, when you need to discipline yourself to do it. So yeah, just expect that, because like it won't be effortless. What he said is that what were the things that you was able to do for 12 to 15 hours a day straight? I actually thought about it, couldn't come to a conclusion, but later I realized that when I was younger, in video games, I was also building servers. I had a Minecraft server, I had a GTA 5 server. Basically, probably that was the start of my entrepreneurial journey. And yeah, fourth is basically the garbage luck. Basically, these are the bad things. So if you are doing a lot of bad things, if you are shooting heroin, it will be pretty hard to like be motivated. But it also comes back to dopamine luck. This two is pretty connected, the first and the fourth one. Stuff that you enjoy but are bad for you. If you don't sacrifice for your goals, then your goals will become the sacrifice. I don't know if it was said by Samovans, but it's definitely Samovans who popularized this saying, and it's totally right. You have to sacrifice for your goals because otherwise they will become the sacrifice. So like when you're thinking about going out drinking, if you're thinking about playing that video games, watching that movie, yeah, it's probably fun and it won't destroy your life, but like it will do in the long run. So find out, we are going back to the point that I was talking here, that find out what's the thing that's mostly stopping you and cut that big bad thing out. And okay, now we are making some progress and getting to the warning sign of dopamine toxication, which is basically my favorite video. And it's such a favorite video that I actually spoiled it here. But basically what he was talking about, and this video is kind of similar actually, is when one thing falls, other things also fall. And I also draw this graph here, and you know, when you start to get down here, you need to know, because let's just look logically at this graph. You see, we are going down really slowly, but then it becomes really fast, and you just find yourself down here. So basically, you have to recognize the collapse happening as soon as possible, probably even here. Because if you notice it here, like, you can't stop it. It's just a slippery slope and you are already down here. You have to notice it in time. This starts slowly, but it's a vicious cycle and it can quickly get out of hand. As I showed it, it quickly goes down. Your brain's reason, that was my favorite part. Your brain's reason to do something bad will be a perfectly copyrighted sales video because it knows you best. I just want you to do this exercise right now because I found this fascinating, like how much the brain can rationalize bad stuff just because it's addicted to it. Think back of some bad habit that you have and how your brain convinces yourself to get it. Let's say you are here. Okay, this looks weird. And here's this wall. There is actually a door here. Here a door. And here is like all the things you love to do. All your happiness. All the pleasureful activities are here. And here is this door. And here is you. And you know that if you go here, it will basically destroy your dopamine and you're like, yeah, go down here. So basically you decide that, fuck, I need to get back my pen. You buy a big lock. You buy this big lock and you put it on the door. But then basically what happens is that you will guess that, and you think that like, oh no, you block the bad thing, so you will no longer do the bad thing. But what will actually happen is not that you find an other way around. You go up here, you go down here, but your own brain convinces you to go here and just get the lockdown. Your own brain will convince you to get the lockdown, and it doesn't care what it takes. It will bring some tool and get the lockdown from here. And then you just go here and go, and you will have too much pleasure here. So the biggest enemy is you, and mostly your brain. So as I said, your brain's reason to do something bad will be a perfectly copyrighted sales video because it knows you best. It will convince you that, yeah, we shouldn't do it, but yeah, you deserve it. You should probably do it. Like, you know, it's not even that bad at all. Like, you watch that video that you need to have fun. Yeah, you also, like, you know, what about, like, well, man, you work so much today. It's not even that bad thing. You just do it just once today and you're like, just engage in the bad stuff. And it's already too late. So pay a lot of attention to this. You have to stop making deals with yourself about bad things. Big thing. Also, this should be orange. There will be one day that will be your last. And that will be your high score. And that's it. How would it feel if at that point you realized you haven't achieved what you wanted to achieve, but you just mindlessly was checking social media. You was just mindlessly doing this instead of going towards the stuff that you wanted to do and basically work on your goals. This tries to be a laptop. But yeah, how would that feel if you realized you could never discipline yourself and you just stayed here with the ultimate happiness of pleasureful activities instead of disciplining yourself and going here and just working on the stuff that you need to work on? You could be here working. This looks so weird, by the way. I can delete it. But you were just here engaging in pleasure. So yeah, let's go back. I don't know. I will even give you a little bit of time to think about it because I think it's pretty deep. Think about it. You, at every moment in your life, you have the decision to go here or to go here. And your brain will tell you, your brain will tell you that you should go this way, this is the best thing. It will write you the perfectly copyrighted sales letter of like, it will try everything. It will try to convince you that you should do this. And here's the thing, that's the main reason why I believe you should meditate. And that's why you should basically just play a game with yourself. That's a side note from here, but I want to dive a little bit deeper here. Is like play a game that like every time you stop yourself from doing any activities like this here, you gain a point, plus some point. Let's say you are here, and you're like, oh, I want to go here. But like, let's work there. And you sit down, work. You got a point. You're like, oh, I want to check social media. Like, you want to check Gmail. Nah, I'm not checking it. You come back to work. And every time you do this, you get a point. And you can count how much point you get at a day. I do this the same thing with meditation. Like every time, like I got my attention back to the moment from my thoughts, I gain a point. And it's fun to gamify stuff like that. But yeah, let's get back to the video. Write down patterns and change that's happening that causing these destructive breakdowns. I'm currently documenting this and I have multiple ones written down, but to share one that happened with me is basically I go on social media, and because social media is fun, I stay up too late. And because I stay up too late because it's social media, so I will have a bad sleep next day. Because I have a bad sleep, then I will have less willpower, and because of the less willpower, I will be even more likely to be on social media, and I even more likely to have bad sleep, and I even more likely to have less willpower. So it's just a vicious cycle that goes down. And it starts by the fact that me being on social media late, me going to sleep late, me having low willpower because of the bad sleep, me giving into to social media again, and then down here. So yeah, okay. There is no time when you partake in these fake pleasures and you feel good after it. Yes, you should have time to make fun memories, but at pleasure chasing destructive phase, so this is what I named this is the pleasure chasing destructive phase, you just drift. As from the book Outwitting the Devil. So basically, I'm going to share back and this guy, let me delete this. So basically, the best way to decide if you should partake in something, and when your brain is writing you this perfectly copyrighted sales letter, you should just ask yourself a simple question. After you partake in this activity, like after you do this thing, let's say check your emails, or I don't know what you want to do, the thing that your brain tries to convince you, but you say no. After you do that, will you be happier later, or will you feel a sense of emptiness and pain? And it's the latter, don't do it. Naval has this interesting framework that basically if you are at a decision and you don't know which one to choose the one that is more painful, that is causing you more pain in the short term. I really like this mental model for decision making. So yeah, write down the pattern of change that's happening that causes these destructive breakdowns. I studied, you earned it is your brain's best reason for distraction. You are here and you worked today all day. You should go here. You should go here. You earned it. It's like I just quote here Alex Becker because he said it beautifully. He said, like, you earned it that you destroyed all the progress. You build the building and you earned it to destroy it. Yeah, you earned it, but why would you destroy the building? Stop viewing your life in streaks, because it's really unmotivating when you are early on a streak. And another thing is like, let's you go to this pleasureful place and you're like, oh no, I was too much on social media. So because this happens, what some people do is, because on social media now they spend even more time on social media and they just spend too much time on social media. I remember there is this story of like the man who like smokes 2 cigarettes at the same time, and there comes a guy, ask him like, why are you smoking 2 cigarettes at the same time? He said, oh, I stopped smoking. He's like, I don't understand it. And he says he smoked the first cigarette because he relapsed, and he's smoking the second one because he's feeling bad from relapsing and smoking. So yeah, also realize this destructive habit. The goal is spending as many days going forward as possible, not being in streaks. So don't care about streaks. You can change the things at this exact moment. Don't care about streaks. Okay, we are getting to the end. We have few left, but these are shorter ones. So yeah, why live like a monk? Becker loves partying, gaming, socializing, and having fun, but he understands that currently his purpose is more important. Most people don't know what they want from life, or they are not willing to sacrifice the thing. Very true. Giving up everything to focus on one singular goal is what you should do. It's because, yeah, you have all this different stuff that you should do, but I don't know. A common pattern I see with entrepreneurs is basically essentialism. Sacrificing everything for one thing. And basically just doing the bare minimum in every other areas so they could put everything into one area. If you don't sacrifice for your goals, you're going to sacrifice. We already talked about this. If everyone agrees with you, you are doing the wrong thing. True. You won't get results if anything. You won't get results in anything unless you invest 80 to 90% of your energy into it. By the way, same idea as essentialism. So you should spend most time in one thing, because if you do too many things, you won't get results in any of that. It's not like you will just get results later, you will never get results. And this is one of the important things that like I generally want you to think about right now. What's more important right now? Going out and partying, or building something that's really important to me? I want you to ask yourself currently this question, because yes, I get it. You probably want to watch movies. You probably want to, I don't know, be on social media, be on Twitter, watch YouTube videos. But what's more important to you right now? This or this? And this is something you can only decide. I don't know. The longer you try to resist sacrifice, the longer this journey will take. I needed to even put it, as you see, in this so many circles, because I find it so interesting. So let me read again. The longer you try to resist sacrifice, the longer this journey will take. It's like, yeah, I can still do it by being hangover all day, by being on social media 10 hours a week. I can still do it, I don't need to sacrifice this stuff. The thing is that with everything, you are fucking up your dopamine, you're losing self-respect, so it's just not worth it. So the longer this journey will take, so get rid of this stuff. If you are not going to sacrifice, this is when I heard this, like, this was like a mic drop. If you are not going to sacrifice, you are going to make the ultimate sacrifice. Jeez, this should be the thing circled around, because like, wow. When I heard this, like, I think I stopped the video for like a minute. So yeah, I don't know. Even after this video, I probably you should think about it a little bit, and I just generally advise you to watch the video. Watch his original video, because it generally was really good. So let me read it again. If you are not going to sacrifice, you are going to make the ultimate sacrifice. And you already know what's that thing that's stopping you and that's causing you the most pain. You are just emotionally attached and you are not willing to make the sacrifice. You are going to make the ultimate sacrifice. So yeah, this was a shorter one. I generally didn't get too much out from this. This video is about the application of the nightmare mode. Alex Becker learned to make a game under 23 days. He was working on his business, and after it he was practicing coding till night. This is only possible if you like what you do. So yeah, basically my main takeaway from the video was that Like imagine working throughout the whole day and then spending your night, your free time to learn coding and build a game. Like you can only do this if you are extremely passionate about something. And you should do nightmare mode in sprints, which basically means that you should have these times when you want to achieve something big, so you use nightmare mode as a tool. And we will actually talk about here, which is the video about exactly this. No from nightmare mode broke me, fix this first. If you only get dopamine from the thing that grow you, you will become obsessed with it. So getting back to this video, he was able to code and make a video game because only this thing gave him dopamine. If he was also partying at 10 hours a day, it would be pretty hard to learn coding and make a video game. But he could do it because this was the most fun thing and he was looking forward to it. So yeah, really interesting idea. Reading, CEO interviews and documentaries are allowed. So yeah, like another fun thing you can do in nightmare mode is read. Which, by the way, I'm realizing it's actually pretty fun. Or dopamines are just fucked up. CEO interviews. He has a separate video about why he's watching CEO interviews and not reading books, by the way. And his point is that like CEOs are read much more books and books are slow. So like basically by watching an interview, you are consuming multiple books at the same time. And you can also watch documentaries. So yeah, basically if you get the pattern, you should only consume long form educational content. No short form educational content, only long form. I also had courses to this. So basically courses, reading, interviews and documentaries. Nightmare mode is good for building leverage, but after 2 to 3 months of doing this, your creativity will drop and you won't become more productive. So this is one thing that I also found super interesting when he was talking about this, because other people put it differently. Some people talk about order, chaos. Some people talk about monk mode, party mode or something like that. It's the same idea, but Becker looks at it in a way that basically you have times when you build leverage and then you have times when you use leverage. You need to be in nightmare mode when you are building this leverage, when you're building your business, when you're building your channel, when you're doing all this stuff. But when you already built a factory, okay, this is not a good idea. Okay, but let's use just it. Okay, this is not a good idea. But if you already have a business ready, there is no point in just like building a second business and like, just like building multiple ones. Your best bet now that you have your business is not building another one or like, just like continue building it, but rather like using it. Okay, let me say it again. Let's say you have like a cookie factory. You shouldn't build another one and another one and another one. You should just start using the cookie factory when it's like built up and just produce cookies. You don't need more buildings, you need to use this. So yeah, once stuff is built, it's ready. Building them again won't be helpful to you. You have to use it. You don't need to build another factory. You need to just use the current factory. And that's also a really great way to look at business, is when you are in monk mode or nightmare mode or leverage building mode. Your main point is working on the business, so you will have leverage and you don't need to work in the business. And if you don't know what to do, that's a good thing to help you figure out. Nightmare mode is building leverage, and after it you have to use that leverage. It was a kind of big breakthrough for me, so I've written down this, but basically the main point of this video wasn't actually this, was the fact that if you spend too much time in nightmare mode and you just like, just in a room, focusing, not doing anything, working, you just basically you're training your focus, but you don't expose yourself to new information, so your creativity will drop and you won't have any creativity. And when your business is built, it's much easier to just like run the business and during the same time expose yourself to new information, so you can add that new information and apply it to your business instead of just like building. Because you could, let's say you go into you build, but you could build to the completely wrong direction, but because you don't expose yourself to new information and current information, you just go into the completely bad direction. So yeah, but that's just my comment. He wasn't saying that. Never use social media without these 4 blocking apps. Brain damage. Other good video He actually said he will share us his extensions, and then he didn't share it. So there is 4 blocking apps, and he didn't share it. But basically what he was talking about in this video is don't have a phone. Best easier way to not get distracted. I have a 7-year-old phone, and basically I have literally nothing on it. I made this post, I made this comment once, and Andrew said to me that like, hey, if you post it, if you tweet this on Twitter, I will retweet it. And basically the tweet was that you are not addicted to your phone, you are addicted to the apps on it. If you delete the apps, you delete your phone addiction. Same idea here. You are not addicted to your phone, you are addicted to the apps on it. Delete the social media apps, the games, all the shitty stuff that's stopping you, and you're no longer addicted to it. It's so easy to break phone addiction. Like maybe I will make a video about it, but it's so simple. You just maybe don't want to do the sacrifice. If you are not going to sacrifice, you are going to make the ultimate sacrifice. So yeah, download extensions. So basically newsfeed eradicator is one that blocks Facebook's feed, Reddit's feed, Y Combinator feed, all Twitter feed, all these feeds, and and yeah, and remove YouTube recommendation. That's, for example, Unhook is good YouTube recommendation remover. You can use that. If you are not using social media for business, delete it. He was also probably talking about the fact that like if you are not an influencer, then you don't need to be on social media, which is true. If you are in nightmare mode, you should build leverage. You don't need to expose yourself to new information. So there is social media. Only use one messaging app. I actually was reading through my notes and came decided to my mind that I actually don't agree with this idea completely. But take my advice with a grain of salt, because I'm not worth 170 million. But basically my point is that I believe you should have actually 2 messaging apps. One for business and one for friends and family. For the fact that like, let's say you only use one and you have this one place where you're like, you do your business stuff and then you get a message from a friend. No, you will be, for your work day, you will be thinking about that message from that friend. Otherwise, this should just be like turned off, this messaging app, or even block this messaging app. And then when it's like evening, you just turn it on. So yeah, I believe you should have 2, but if you decide to have one, you can check out an app called text.com, which basically combines all your messaging app into ones. So that's also an interesting idea that you should do. I commented to myself that read the Digital Minimalism book from Cal Newport. So yeah, and last video. And that was also one of my favorite ones. But I said probably one of my favorite ones that the whole word lost its meaning. But yeah, let's get into it. And I even made myself this year. But basically the main idea of this was, let's go through it. Most people struggle from dopamine desensitization, and that's why they are unhappy. Simple things in life will make you happy if you are in nightmare mode. To even more simplified, if you haven't fucked up your dopamine receptors, if nothing is fun in life, everything is fun in life. It could be even said that way. But yeah, if you haven't fucked up your dopamine receptors, then basically just being alive will be fun. That's the main takeaway from the video for me. You will start feeling more happier and more motivated doing your work, because you won't be in this constant low baseline of dopamine pain thing, and life also becomes more fun. So literally think about it. Imagine if you could take a pill that would make you extremely motivated, and it would also make your life more fun. Wouldn't you take it? Like, genuinely. If you think about it, you don't even need to sacrifice that much thing for it. And basically it literally could solve most of your problems when it comes to productivity. So yeah, I wanna do this. I believe this is the 3 levels of dopamine release. And the problem is that most people are jumping between this stage and sometimes try to come here, but it's like too painful, so you just go back here. And they are living in this instant gratification, fucked up things when you fast food drugs, short form content, porn, and you do all this, and this completely fucks up your dopamine receptors. And yeah, but what I believe is best is being between these 2. And you don't even realize, but reading can be also high dopamine activity, and watching courses and working. It's just the simple fact that compared to this, these are pretty boring. But compared to walks and doing nothing, working on computer and reading courses are pretty fun, and it will actually release a lot of dopamine. So it's always what you compare that activity against is how much fun it will be. And yeah, basically you should get yourself to this position. And if your only decision is staring at a white wall all day or sitting down and working on your computer, generally trust me, working your computer will be extremely fun. So yeah, now that we went through all of this stuff, there is one conclusion that, as you see, I basically turned off. And if you paid enough attention, you already know this conclusion. And yeah, by the way, there was multiple conclusion, but for me this was the main conclusion, and it's not other than you need to be in a position where you have absolutely nothing to do except work. As I just touched on here, if you're in an empty room, if you're in an empty room and you are here and there is nothing to do except your laptop is here, and you can either work on your laptop or stare at the wall. Imagine you're in an empty room and there is only a computer, then it is completely white. You can just sit on the ground or work. This will be super fun, even if your computer is not full of games. So yeah, I just want to touch on this again. Basically, this is the wall protocol as we went through it. This is not a permanent lifestyle. This is only for when you want to get to the next level and you want to build leverage. This won't be fun and expected. And if you decide to make all these changes, you will experience a lot of pain with it at the start. I tested it out, and first when you do this whole dopamine detox lifestyle, it will be really, really painful. But if you stay there for long enough, that pain will go down and it will actually become enjoyable. Probably I should have showed it like this. So if you can withstand the part of dopamine detox that's down here, and this is like the pain part when you like think like, oh, nothing has meaning, you'd start to question if it's even worth it and stuff. And I was there, and it's not fun. Your brain literally convinces you that you should just give it up and you shouldn't be in dopamine detox mode. And this happens because your brain expects a lot of dopamine, but it doesn't get, so it basically becomes depressed. But as I said, if you stay here for long enough, your happiness level will just goes up. So yeah, I think this was probably the best video sales letter on why you should do dopamine detox. And I think now it's pretty easy to understand for you that this is generally the best thing that you can do. And if you want to achieve anything in business, this is the best thing. Pay attention to your dopamine, this one thing. I think if you take away from this video one thing, it'd be that, and that to find out what's that thing that's basically stopping you, and just get rid of that one thing. So yeah, let me get back to the cam. Thanks for listening and watching this video. From now on, it will be like longer videos like this. I hope you will enjoy it. And yeah, we'll talk soon. So yeah, see you in the next video. Check out this video and see you there. So yeah, bye bye.